Alright guys, I just wanted to show you how worried this donkey is about this tarp. So all I'm going to do is I've got my tarp here. I'm just going to walk past the round pen here, which is where she is. I'm just going to walk over that direction and I'll show you what she does. So all I'm doing is dragging the tarp with me. I have not lifted it up at all. It's been just dragging right along with me here. But you can see how worried it gets her. So, this girl has been an interesting case for me. She really hasn't thrown anything at me that I haven't seen in other equines. But one thing I have noticed with her is she's very prone to just tuning me out. Like when I asked her to lead, that's a good girl. She wants to be curious, but I like that. So when I was asking her to lead when she first got here, she would just plant her feet and basically ignore me. Even when I would get my stick and try to tap her on the butt to get her to walk along with me, she would just completely ignore it. And very, very seldom would give in to the pressure. And we worked through that. Took us a little bit, but we worked through that. I think a lot of that was trust, but now she's really doing better with that. But I've noticed too, and you've probably seen a little bit when I ask her to go somewhere on the line, she'll do the bare minimum. But I know this flight is in here. So that's why I haven't done a lot of desensitizing with her yet, because she does have a tendency to just tune me out. And she's been getting better with that. But you can see that we have a lot of work to do with desensitization for her to be a driving donkey. Because you can tell how just a simple plain blue tarp just about sends her over the edge. And it's not just the tarp too. I was dragging a piece of fencing past here and it got the same reaction. I'll take my daughter in the stroller right next to the round pen here and I'll get pretty much the same reaction. She wants to investigate. She wants to come up close. So, this is the first stage. This is what we're starting with desensitizing. So I'll keep you updated on these videos and we will show you how she progresses. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let her work out an answer on her own here. I've got the tarp in my hand and all I'm going to do with it is present it. Not asking her to come up and sniff it, not asking it to touch her or anything yet. Good. When she turns and faces me, I'm going to just back off a little bit. But if she wants to run, I'm going to put just enough pressure on her drive lane to make standing still a more appealing option for her. And I've chosen to go with this for our first route because you saw how severe her reaction is to this tarp. And I've told you that I am just now getting her over. Good girl. I am just now getting her over not dragging on the halter. Because as a donkey, she is quite heavy on the head. And we're working on getting past that. And I don't want to worry about that being a factor when she has this much fear. Good girl. See, if she wants to come in towards it a little bit, I'll let her. If she wants to come in towards me, that's okay. If she wants to go back out, that's fine. But if you want to move around, you're going to move around. It's the same pressure and release concept. It's just using the round pen to my advantage a little bit here so that I don't have to have the halter be a factor. So when she comes in, I'll back off and let her draw in towards this. I've got this out in front of me, so when she's coming in towards the scary blue object. And she's getting a release. And then when she leaves, I put the pressure back on. And she goes back to work. So it's pressure and release. It's just kind of a different way of doing it. And I'm not too worried about direction right now. If she wants to change direction, I'm not going to be too picky. I'm letting her work out this issue that she's having with this scary blue tarp. I like that she looks at it. Good girl. And I back off when she wants to come in. If she wants to just stand there and look at it, that's cool. If she wants to walk off, it's going to come back. I want her to figure out that her best choice is to stop and think about things. Stop and think. That's what we're working on with desensitization. But you can see she's coming along like a champ now. Definitely thinking a lot more. So it's been 4 days since I first introduced the tarp, since I did that video where I was just dragging it on the outside of the pen here and she was in here freaking out. And I've got it tucked underneath her surcingle right now, so it is not tied to her. And if she gets in a pinch, she can get rid of it. So there's no danger of her getting tangled in it. And all I've been doing is I've just been asking her to move around with it a little bit. At a little bit of a walk and a trot, and come on, baby. Good girl. I've been letting it flow behind her. She can see it. Letting it flow behind her, letting it get caught in her back legs a little bit. Like I said, it can't get tangled, but it can wrap around her legs a little bit so that she can feel it and not freak out at it. Get used to something like that. Because she's going to be a driving donkey, she needs to be comfortable with things making noise behind her and following her closely like this. Now, she's been doing very well with this the past couple days. She has really come full circle. She's been letting me flap it all over her, rub it all over her. I would never try this with a equine that was still deathly afraid of it. But she's been doing excellent. Let's see if I can get her to trot a little bit. Let's pick up a little trot. Come on, baby. She's like, I've been doing some trotting. It doesn't bother me. This is difficult to do with the video. But you can see how she is a completely different donkey than who she was just a few days ago. She's really handling this like a champ now. Come on, babe. And she's been moving around with it. It's been getting tangled in her back legs a little bit. Not tangled, but, you know, wrapping around her back legs as she moves a little bit. And then it flows back out. So she's been doing very, very well with this. So what I've got going here is kind of an exercise that helps me with my driving horses or ponies that tend to be a little more on the flighty side. What I've done is I've gone ahead and attached 2 cat litter jugs to her surcingle, and I have put rocks in these jugs so that they make some noise. And then I ask her to move around a little bit. When I first put them on, I didn't have the camera going yet. She didn't give me a chance to get the camera. And she took off and ran a few laps around the round pen here, and then soon figured out that if I stop and I start thinking, the noise that's scaring me stops, which is going to come in handy if she ever gets scared in the cart. The cart is going to be attached to her. So if she ever gets spooked or ever gets in a situation where she's not sure about something, I need her to know how to think through a situation. Horses and equines will always have that spook first, think later mentality. It's just how they are. They are prey animals. But what we're trying to do through her training and desensitizing is we are trying to reduce the amount of time that is between those two. Reduce the time from the time she spooks to the time she starts thinking about a situation. So here I've gone ahead and attached something to her. I would never ever do this with an equine that didn't already have an understanding of pressure and release. But she has been through the program enough now that she understands that she needs to look for a release. She needs to look for an answer in order to get her release. So I really wish I had the camera going when she did it at first, but she was running around here pretty spooked, humping up a little bit, crow hopping, and as soon as she stopped, she realized, oh, so the noise stops when I stop freaking out. And I start thinking about this a little bit. Because she was not scared when I went to put these on her. She didn't mind me rubbing the jugs all over her. She didn't mind me shaking them around a little bit. It's when they were attached to her that she freaked out a little bit. So I'm glad I did this because it'll be a really good prep exercise for the cart, because I cannot have her doing that with the cart. So I'd rather her do it now and get more comfortable with various things. Good girl. So right there you could see I asked her to pick up a trot and she got nervous. What did she do instead of running off and freaking out like she would have a couple weeks ago? She stopped and she started thinking. Do you see her lick and chew there? She started thinking about, what is the answer? How can I get the pressure to stop? How can I get what's scaring me to stop? That's a good girl. And you can see that it is helping her get over her fear too, because she's not afraid to go ahead and ask and walk off when I ask her to. So she's not frozen stiff and just will not move. I don't want that either. I just want her to think. Obviously, I want to get to the point where she's comfortable enough with the jugs that she will continue trotting as if they weren't there. But I'm pleased with how she's handling her reactions now. When she gets nervous, she just stops and thinks and looks for an answer. That's a good girl. That's much better than what she was doing initially.